What's your I came looking for copper but found gold moment? I signed up for a support group just to feel less alone. That's it. I wasn't looking for healing or connection. I wasn't trying to grow or transform. I was just tired of crying in my car after work and pretending I was okay. My mom had died 3 months earlier, and her absence felt like this heavy coat I couldn't take off. Every room in my apartment echoed with her silence. My friends didn't know what to say anymore. So I found a grief group that met every Tuesday night in a cold church basement. I expected stale coffee and awkward small talk. What I didn't expect was David. He sat 2 chairs over, eyes always fixed on the floor, like looking up would break him. He'd lost his wife. He didn't say much, just short, quiet things like, "I miss her laugh," or "She smelled like lavender and rain." But when he spoke, the entire room leaned in. I remember the first time he looked at me, really looked, and said, "You talk about your mom like she's still listening." I blinked back tears. "Because I hope she is," I said. We started talking more after the sessions. At first, just safe things. Weather, books, grief, then deeper things. Guilt, regrets. The way the world just kept turning while we stood still. One night, I told him I couldn't remember my mom's voice anymore, and he reached into his coat, pulled out a tiny recorder, and said, "I know what that feels like. I've been trying to remember her laugh too." He played a recording of his wife laughing at some dumb joke. It was the saddest, most beautiful sound I'd ever heard. I didn't go to that group to find anyone. I didn't want to be saved. But David never tried to save me. He just sat beside me in the dark until my eyes adjusted. And that was everything. I went looking for copper. Just something to get me through another day. I found gold in a man who carried his grief like a mirror to mine. I think the moment I realized how much David meant to me wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. A Thursday, I think. I was having a hard day. One of those days where you wake up already on the verge of tears, and everything just feels too loud. I hadn't eaten. I hadn't showered. I was lying on my couch wrapped in the blanket my mom gave me for college when David texted, "Park bench?" No questions, no pressure, just a quiet invitation. I almost said no, but something in me whispered go, so I did. When I got there, he didn't say a word. He just opened a thermos and handed me hot chocolate. "Didn't know what else to bring," he said. I took a sip and started crying. Not the loud, sobbing kind, just a silent stream of tears that wouldn't stop. And still, he said nothing. Just sat there, eyes forward, shoulder close enough to mine that I could lean without asking. That's when I realized, grief doesn't need fixing. It needs witnessing. In a world full of people trying to cheer you up or rush you through the pain, David never once told me to smile or be strong. He never gave me advice I didn't ask for. He just stayed, consistently, kindly. And that kind of presence? That's rarer than love. There was a moment, weeks later, when I asked him, "Why do you keep showing up?" He looked at me, this time with no hesitation, and said, "Because someone did that for me once." And I remember how much it mattered. I didn't know whether to thank him or break down again. So I did both. The strangest part is I never imagined this chapter of my life would hold anything good. I expected survival, not connection. I expected pain, not peace. But somehow, in that quiet sadness, something beautiful began to grow. We planted flowers on a Sunday in my mom's old garden. We visited his wife's favorite diner and ordered her usual. We honored their memories not with candles or ceremonies, but with laughter, stories, and space. He never asked me to move on. I never asked him to heal. But somewhere along the way, we started living again. Not in spite of our grief, but with it. As if the ache in our hearts made room for something soft and human to grow. Grief led me into that cold church basement. I was looking for something small, just a way to get through the day. But I found gold. I found someone who understood my silence, my rage, my memories. Someone who didn't ask me to stop hurting, just promised I wouldn't have to do it alone anymore.